Glinda the good witch grants Dorothy's wish.
Глинда, добрая ведьма, исполняет желание Дороти.
Glinda the good witch grants Dorothy's wish. Before they went to see Glinda, however,
Однако прежде чем они отправились к Глинде,
before they went to see Glinda, however, they were taken to a room of the castle.
их отвели в комнату замка,
They were taken to a room of the castle, where Dorothy washed her face and combed her hair.
где Дороти умылась и причесалась,
Where Dorothy washed her face and combed her hair. And the lion shook the dust out of his mane.
а лев стряхнул пыль с гривы,
And the lion shook the dust out of his mane. And the scarecrow patted himself into his best shape.
а страшила привел себя в наилучший вид,
And the scarecrow patted himself into his best shape. And the woodman polished his tin and oiled his joints.
а дровосек начистил свою жестянку и смазал суставы.
And the woodman polished his tin and oiled his joints. When they were all quite presentable.
Приведя себя в приличный вид,
When they were all quite presentable. They followed the soldier girl.
они последовали за девушкой-солдатом.
They followed the soldier girl. Into a big room.
В большую комнату,
Into a big room. Where the witch Glinda sat upon a throne of rubies.
где на троне из рубинов восседала ведьма Глинда.
Where the witch Glinda sat upon a throne of rubies. She was both beautiful and young to their eyes.
Она была и красива, и молода в их глазах.
She was both beautiful and young to their eyes. Her hair was a rich red in color.
Ее волосы были насыщенного рыжего цвета.
Her hair was a rich red in color. And fell in flowing ringlets over her shoulders.
И падали струящимися локонами на плечи.
And fell in flowing ringlets over her shoulders. Her dress was pure white.
Платье у нее было белоснежное,
Her dress was pure white. But her eyes were blue.
но глаза голубые,
But her eyes were blue. And they looked kindly upon the little girl.
и они ласково смотрели на девочку.
And they looked kindly upon the little girl. What can I do for you, my child?
«Что я могу сделать для тебя, дитя мое?»
What can I do for you, my child? She asked.
— спросила она.
She asked. Dorothy told the witch all her story.
Дороти рассказала ведьме всю свою историю.
Dorothy told the witch all her story. How the cyclone had brought her to the land of Oz.
Как циклон занес ее в страну Оз.
How the cyclone had brought her to the land of Oz. How she had found her companions.
Как она нашла своих товарищей.
How she had found her companions. And of the wonderful adventures they had met with.
И какие удивительные приключения они пережили.
And of the wonderful adventures they had met with. My greatest wish now.
Мое самое большое желание сейчас,
My greatest wish now. She added.
добавила она,
She added. Is to get back to Kansas.
это вернуться в Канзас,
Is to get back to Kansas. For Aunt Em will surely think.
потому что тетя М наверняка подумает,
For Aunt Em will surely think. Something dreadful has happened to me.
что со мной случилось что-то ужасное,
Something dreadful has happened to me. And that will make her put on mourning.
и это заставит ее погрузиться в траур.
And that will make her put on mourning. And unless the crops are better this year than they were last.
И если в этом году урожай не будет лучше, чем в прошлом,
And unless the crops are better this year than they were last. I am sure Uncle Henry cannot afford it.
я уверена, что дядя Генри не может себе этого позволить.
I am sure Uncle Henry cannot afford it. Glinda leaned forward.
Глинда наклонилась вперед
Glinda leaned forward. And kissed the sweet.
и поцеловала милое,
and kissed the sweet, upturned face of the loving little girl.
Обращенное кверху личико прекрасной девочки.
Upturned face of the loving little girl. Bless your dear heart.
Благослови твое дорогое сердце,
Bless your dear heart. She said.
сказала она.
She said. I am sure.
Я уверена.
I am sure. I can tell you of a way to get back to Kansas.
Что могу подсказать тебе, как вернуться в Канзас.
I can tell you of a way to get back to Kansas. Then she added.
Затем она добавила.
Then she added. But if I do.
Но если я это сделаю,
But if I do. You must give me the golden cap.
ты должна мне отдать золотую шапку.
You must give me the golden cap. Willingly.
Охотно.
Willingly. Exclaimed Dorothy.
Воскликнула Дороти.
Exclaimed Dorothy. Indeed, it is of no use to me now.
Действительно, теперь он мне ни к чему.
Indeed, it is of no use to me now. And when you have it.
А когда он будет у вас,
And when you have it. You can command the winged monkeys 3 times.
вы сможете трижды приказать крылатым обезьянам.
You can command the winged monkeys 3 times. And I think I shall need their service.
И я думаю, что мне понадобятся их услуги.
And I think I shall need their service. Just those 3 times.
Именно эти 3 раза.
Just those 3 times. Answered Glinda, smiling.
Улыбаясь, ответила Глинда.
Answered Glinda, smiling. Dorothy then gave her the golden cap.
Затем Дороти дала ей золотую шапку.
Dorothy then gave her the golden cap. And the witch said to the scarecrow.
И ведьма сказала Страшиле.
And the witch said to the scarecrow. What will you do when Dorothy has left us?
Что ты будешь делать, когда Дороти покинет нас?
What will you do when Dorothy has left us? I will return to the Emerald City.
Я вернусь в изумрудный город.
I will return to the Emerald City. He replied.
Ответил он.
He replied. For Oz has made me its ruler.
Потому что Оз сделал меня правителем.
For Oz has made me its ruler. And the people like me.
И я нравлюсь людям.
And the people like me. The only thing that worries me.
Единственное, что меня беспокоит,
The only thing that worries me. Is how to cross the hill of the hammerheads.
это как пересечь холм молотоголовых.
Is how to cross the hill of the hammerheads. By means of the golden cap.
С помощью золотой шапки.
By means of the golden cap. I shall command the winged monkeys.
Я прикажу крылатым обезьянам.
I shall command the winged monkeys. To carry you to the gates of the Emerald City.
Отнести вас к воротам изумрудного города.
To carry you to the gates of the Emerald City. Said Glinda.
Сказала Глинда.
Said Glinda. For it would be a shame.
Ибо было бы позором.
For it would be a shame. To deprive the people of so wonderful a ruler.
Лишить народ такого замечательного правителя.
To deprive the people of so wonderful a ruler. Am I really wonderful?
Я действительно замечательный.
Am I really wonderful? Asked the scarecrow.
Спросил Страшила.
Asked the scarecrow. You are unusual.
Ты необыкновенный.
You are unusual. Replied Glinda.
Ответила Глинда.
Replied Glinda. Turning to the Tin Woodman, she asked.
Повернувшись к железному дровосеку, она спросила.
Turning to the Tin Woodman, she asked. What will become of you?
Что будет с тобой?
What will become of you? When Dorothy leaves this country.
Когда Дороти покинет эту страну?
When Dorothy leaves this country. He leaned on his axe and thought a moment.
Он оперся на топор и на мгновение задумался.
He leaned on his axe and thought a moment. Then he said.
Затем он сказал.
Then he said. The Winkies were very kind to me.
Винки были очень добры ко мне.
The Winkies were very kind to me. And wanted me to rule over them.
И хотели, чтобы я правил ими.
And wanted me to rule over them. After the wicked witch died.
После смерти злой ведьмы.
After the wicked witch died. I am fond of the Winkies.
Я люблю Винки.
I am fond of the Winkies. And if I could get back again to the country of the West.
И если бы я мог снова вернуться в страну Запада.
And if I could get back again to the country of the West. I should like nothing better than to rule over them forever.
Я бы ничего не желал больше, чем править ими вечно.
I should like nothing better than to rule over them forever. My second command to the winged monkeys.
Мой второй приказ крылатым обезьянам.
My second command to the winged monkeys. Said Glinda.
Сказала Глинда.
Said Glinda. Will be that they carry you safely.
В том, чтобы они благополучно доставили вас.
Will be that they carry you safely. To the land of the Winkies.
В страну мигунов.
To the land of the Winkies. Your brain may not be so large to look at as those of the Scarecrow.
Твои мозги, может быть, и не такие большие, как у Страшилы.
Your brain may not be so large to look at as those of the Scarecrow. But you are really brighter than he is.
Но ты действительно умнее его.
But you are really brighter than he is. When you are well polished.
Когда хорошо отполирован.
When you are well polished. And I am sure.
И я уверена.
And I am sure. You will rule the Winkies wisely and well.
Что ты будешь править мигунами мудро и хорошо.
You will rule the Winkies wisely and well. Then the witch looked at the big.
Тогда ведьма посмотрела на большого.
Then the witch looked at the big, shaggy lion and asked.
Лохматого льва и спросила.
Shaggy lion and asked. When Dorothy has returned to her own home.
Когда Дороти вернется в свой дом.
When Dorothy has returned to her own home. What will become of you?
Что с тобой будет?
What will become of you? Over the hill of the hammerheads.
За холмом молотоголовых.
Over the hill of the hammerheads. He answered.
Ответил он.
He answered. Lies a grand old forest.
Лежит большой старый лес.
Lies a grand old forest. And all the beasts that live there.
И все звери, которые там живут.
And all the beasts that live there. Have made me their king.
Сделали меня своим королем.
Have made me their king. If I could only get back to this forest.
Если бы я только мог вернуться в этот лес.
If I could only get back to this forest. I would pass my life very happily there.
Я бы провел там свою жизнь очень счастливо.
I would pass my life very happily there. My third command to the winged monkeys.
Мой третий приказ крылатым обезьянам.
My third command to the winged monkeys. Said Glinda.
Сказала Глинда.
Said Glinda. Shall be to carry you to your forest.
В том, чтобы отнести тебя в твой лес.
Shall be to carry you to your forest. Then, having used up the powers of the golden cap.
Затем, израсходовав силы золотой шапки.
Then, having used up the powers of the golden cap. I shall give it to the king of the monkeys.
Я отдам ее королю обезьян.
I shall give it to the king of the monkeys. That he and his band.
Чтобы он и его банда.
That he and his band. May thereafter be free forevermore.
После этого были свободны навеки.
may thereafter be free for evermore. The Scarecrow and the Tin Woodman and the Lion.
Страшила, железный дровосек и лев.
The Scarecrow and the Tin Woodman and the Lion now thanked the good witch earnestly.
Искренне благодарили добрую ведьму.
Now thanked the good witch earnestly for her kindness, and Dorothy exclaimed.
За ее доброту. И Дороти воскликнула.
For her kindness, and Dorothy exclaimed. You are certainly as good as you are beautiful.
Ты настолько же хороша, насколько красива.
You are certainly as good as you are beautiful. But you have not yet told me how to get back to Kansas.
Но вы еще не сказали мне, как вернуться в Канзас.
But you have not yet told me how to get back to Kansas. Your silver shoes.
Твои серебряные туфельки.
Your silver shoes will carry you over the desert?
Перенесут тебя через пустыню.
Will carry you over the desert? Replied Glinda.
Ответила Глинда.
Replied Glinda. If you had known their power.
Если бы ты знала об их силе.
If you had known their power. You could have gone back to your Aunt M.
Ты могла бы вернуться к своей тете М.
You could have gone back to your Aunt M. The very first day you came to this country.
В самый первый день, когда приехала в эту страну.
The very first day you came to this country. But then I should not have had my wonderful brains.
Но тогда бы у меня не было моих замечательных мозгов.
But then I should not have had my wonderful brains. Cried the Scarecrow.
Воскликнул Страшила.
Cried the Scarecrow. I might have passed my whole life.
Я мог бы провести всю свою жизнь.
I might have passed my whole life. In the farmer's cornfield.
На фермерском кукурузном поле.
In the farmer's cornfield. And I should not have had my lovely heart.
И у меня не было бы моего милого сердца.
And I should not have had my lovely heart. Said the Tin Woodman.
Сказал железный дровосек.
Said the Tin Woodman. I might have stood and rusted in the forest.
Я мог бы стоять и ржаветь в лесу.
I might have stood and rusted in the forest. Till the end of the world.
До конца света.
Till the end of the world. And I should have lived a coward forever.
А я бы всю жизнь жил трусом.
And I should have lived a coward forever. Declared the lion.
Заявил лев.
Declared the lion. And no beast in all the forest.
И ни один зверь во всем лесу.
And no beast in all the forest. Would have had a good word to say to me.
Не сказал бы мне доброго слова.
Would have had a good word to say to me. This is all true.
Все это правда.
This is all true. Said Dorothy.
Сказала Дороти.
Said Dorothy. And I am glad I was of use to these good friends.
И я рада, что пригодилась этим хорошим друзьям.
And I am glad I was of use to these good friends. But now that each of them.
Но теперь, когда каждый из них.
But now that each of them has had what he most desired.
Добился того, чего больше всего желал.
Has had what he most desired. And each is happy in having a kingdom to rule besides.
И каждый из них счастлив иметь королевство, которым может править.
And each is happy in having a kingdom to rule besides. I think I should like to go back to Kansas.
Я думаю, мне хотелось бы вернуться в Канзас.
I think I should like to go back to Kansas. The silver shoes.
Серебряные туфельки.
The silver shoes. Said the good witch.
Сказала добрая ведьма.
Said the good witch. Have wonderful powers.
Обладают чудесной силой.
Have wonderful powers. And one of the most curious things about them.
И одна из самых любопытных вещей в них.
And one of the most curious things about them. Is that they can carry you.
в том, что они могут перенести вас.
is that they can carry you to any place in the world in 3 steps.
В любую точку мира за 3 шага,
To any place in the world in 3 steps. And each step will be made in the wink of an eye.
и каждый шаг будет сделан в мгновение ока.
And each step will be made in the wink of an eye. All you have to do.
Все, что вам нужно сделать,
All you have to do. Is to knock the heels together 3 times.
это трижды стукнуть каблуками друг о друга.
Is to knock the heels together 3 times. And command the shoes to carry you wherever you wish to go.
И приказать туфлям нести вас туда, куда вы пожелаете.
And command the shoes to carry you wherever you wish to go. If that is so.
Если это так,
If that is so. Said the child joyfully.
радостно сказал ребенок,
Said the child joyfully. I will ask them to carry me back to Kansas at once.
я попрошу их немедленно отнести меня обратно в Канзас.
I will ask them to carry me back to Kansas at once. She threw her arms around the lion's neck and kissed him.
Она обвела руками шею льва и поцеловала его.
She threw her arms around the lion's neck and kissed him. Patting his big head tenderly.
Нежно погладив его большую голову.
Patting his big head tenderly. Then she kissed the Tin Woodman.
Затем она поцеловала железного дровосека.
Then she kissed the Tin Woodman, who was weeping in a way most dangerous to his joints.
Который плакал самым опасным для суставов образом.
Who was weeping in a way most dangerous to his joints. But she hugged the soft, stuffed body of the scarecrow.
Но она обняла мягкое, чучело страшилы.
But she hugged the soft, stuffed body of the scarecrow. In her arms instead of kissing his painted face.
Руками, вместо того, чтобы целовать его раскрашенное лицо,
In her arms instead of kissing his painted face. And found she was crying herself.
и обнаружила, что сама плачет.
And found she was crying herself. At this sorrowful parting from her loving comrades.
От этой горестной разлуки с любящими товарищами.
At this sorrowful parting from her loving comrades. Glinda the Good stepped down from her ruby throne.
Глинда добрая сошла со своего рубинового трона,
Glinda the Good stepped down from her ruby throne. To give the little girl a goodbye kiss.
чтобы поцеловать маленькую девочку на прощание.
To give the little girl a goodbye kiss. And Dorothy thanked her for all the kindness.
И Дороти поблагодарила ее за всю доброту,
And Dorothy thanked her for all the kindness she had shown to her friends and herself.
которую она проявила к ее друзьям и к ней самой.
She had shown to her friends and herself. Dorothy now took Toto up solemnly in her arms.
Дороти торжественно взяла Татошку на руки.
Dorothy now took Toto up solemnly in her arms. And having said one last goodbye.
И, попрощавшись в последний раз,
And having said one last goodbye. She clapped the heels of her shoes together 3 times, saying.
трижды хлопнула каблуками туфель, сказав:
She clapped the heels of her shoes together 3 times, saying. Take me home to Aunt Em.
«Отнесите меня домой к тете М».
Take me home to Aunt Em. Instantly she was whirling through the air.
Мгновенно она закружилась в воздухе,
Instantly she was whirling through the air. So swiftly that all she could see or feel.
так быстро, что все, что она могла видеть или чувствовать,
So swiftly that all she could see or feel. Was the wind whistling past her ears.
был ветер, свистящий мимо ее ушей.
Was the wind whistling past her ears. The silver shoes took but 3 steps.
Серебряные туфли сделали всего 3 шага,
The silver shoes took but 3 steps. And then she stopped so suddenly.
и вдруг она остановилась так внезапно,
And then she stopped so suddenly. That she rolled over upon the grass several times.
Что несколько раз перекатились по траве.
That she rolled over upon the grass several times. Before she knew where she was.
Прежде чем сообразила, где находится.
Before she knew where she was. At length, however, she sat up and looked about her.
Наконец, как бы, она села и огляделась.
At length, however, she sat up and looked about her. Good gracious.
О, Боже!
Good gracious. She cried.
Воскликнула она.
She cried. For she was sitting on the broad Kansas prairie.
Она сидела в широкой канзасской прерии.
For she was sitting on the broad Kansas prairie. And just before her was the new farmhouse.
А прямо перед ней стоял новый фермерский дом.
And just before her was the new farmhouse. Uncle Henry built.
Построенный дядей Генри.
Uncle Henry built. After the cyclone had carried away the old one.
После того, как циклон унес старый.
After the cyclone had carried away the old one. Uncle Henry was milking the cows in the barnyard.
Дядя Генри доил коров на скотном дворе.
Uncle Henry was milking the cows in the barnyard. And Toto had jumped out of her arms.
А Татошка выпрыгнул из ее рук.
And Toto had jumped out of her arms. And was running toward the barn, barking furiously.
И побежал к сараю, яростно лая.
And was running toward the barn, barking furiously. Dorothy stood up and found she was in her stocking feet.
Дороти встала и обнаружила, что она в одних чулках.
Dorothy stood up and found she was in her stocking feet. For the silver shoes had fallen off.
Ибо серебряные туфельки упали.
For the silver shoes had fallen off. In her flight through the air.
Во время ее полета по воздуху.
In her flight through the air. And were lost forever in the desert.
И навсегда потерялись в пустыне.
And were lost forever in the desert.